$2,000. That is what boomers paid for college in 1980.
Total or annual?
Total. 4 years of tuition, including books and basic fees. Gen Z pays $187,000 total for the same bachelor degree today. That is 90 times more for the exact same piece of paper. Decision Archive opens the case. Chapter 1. The 90x generational cost shift. The key numbers are $2,000 versus $187,000.
That is the largest cost increase in American history for any single product.
Correct. Healthcare went up 12x in the same period, housing 7x, food only 4x. College tuition alone exploded 93x in nominal terms from 1980 to 2026. Even adjusted for inflation, real college cost grew 18x while wages grew only 4x. This created the largest affordability gap in American history for any essential expense. NCES data confirms private 4-year college reached $46,800 annually in 2026. Public 4-year in-state colleges reached $24,000 annually, also 50x increase from 1980. Federal Reserve reports total student loan debt crossed $1.85 trillion in 2026. Chapter 2. Pay It Off Generation defends responsibility.
Wait, I am from Pay It Off Generation and here is my position. Every borrower signed loan documents understanding the terms and conditions clearly. Personal financial responsibility is the foundation of adult life and credit access. Mass forgiveness sends a moral hazard signal that obligations can be voided. Workers who paid off their loans through sacrifice should not subsidize those who did not. Many cheaper alternatives existed: community college, in-state public, trade schools, military GI Bill. Choosing expensive private universities with humanities degrees was a personal financial choice. Now demanding the public absorb that choice is unfair to taxpayers who never went to college. Chapter 3. Forgive It All Generation responds.
I am from Forgive It All Generation. Here is the real math. The 1980 boomer who paid $2,000 also got cheap housing, decent wages, and pensions. The 2026 Gen Z paying $187,000 gets gig economy and no pension. This is not a personal responsibility issue, it is a structural generational extraction system. Federal Reserve data shows 60% of borrowers delay home purchase due to debt, 45% delay marriage, 38% delay starting families, locking Gen Z out of life milestones. The credentialing system requires college degrees for jobs that did not in 1980. Workers are forced into six-figure debt just to access entry-level white-collar employment. Mass forgiveness is the only mechanism to restore generational economic mobility. Chapter 4. The Structural Cost Driver Analysis.
Both factions raise valid points. Now let us examine the structural cost drivers. Federal student loan guarantees removed price competition from universities since 1980. Universities raised tuition because guaranteed loan funds covered any price set. Administrative bloat expanded 320% since 1980, far outpacing faculty hiring growth. State funding for public universities dropped 60% inflation adjusted from 1980 to 2026. Universities filled the gap by raising tuition on individual students rather than cutting costs. Federal Reserve studies show 90% of college cost increase tracks loan guarantee expansion. That means the 93x cost ratio is government policy created, not market driven. Chapter 5. Real numbers comparison across generations. Final numbers, 2026 data from Federal Reserve and NCES. Boomer 1980 average college cost $2,000 total for 4 years. Boomer minimum wage worker could pay annual tuition with 200 hours of work. Gen Z 2026 average college cost $187,000 for 4 years. Gen Z minimum wage worker needs 4,300 hours of work to pay annual tuition. That is the 21x affordability gap before considering housing, food, and other essential costs. Average Gen Z bachelor degree holder graduates with $40,000 in student debt. Chapter 6. Verdict. Conclusion based on the structural math. Personal responsibility was a reasonable framework when college cost 10% of annual wage. At 200% of annual wage, the framework breaks down mathematically and ethically. Some form of restructuring is inevitable, either forgiveness, income-driven repayment, or system reform. The choice is not just pay or forgive. It is how to fairly restructure a broken cost system. Pick your side based on whether you see this as personal failure or structural extraction. Chapter 7. Action tonight. Tonight, calculate your own student debt or that of family members under 35. Add the total debt plus opportunity cost of payments invested instead at 7% over 30 years. That number is the generational wealth that disappeared into the college cost system. Most Americans have never seen this calculation laid out clearly anywhere. Once you do, You cannot unsee why student debt politics has become so polarized. Chapter 8. Why no one teaches this. Generational cost shifts are rarely taught in high school economics classes. Schools focus on personal budgeting, not structural cost analysis across generations. Universities profit from the existing system, so they will not teach its history. Banks profit from student loan origination, so they will not promote alternative paths. Political parties prefer simple narratives over the structural 93x cost reality. That is why the generational gap continues to widen decade after decade. Chapter 9. The Real American Story. Consider one real American family across 3 generations. Grandfather in 1965 paid $500 for college, worked summers to cover it. Father in 1985 paid $8,000 total, graduated debt-free with parental help. Daughter in 2026 graduating with $50,000 in debt despite parental help. 3 generations of the same family experienced 100x cost shift across 60 years. The system that made grandfather wealthy now traps the granddaughter in debt cycles. Chapter 10. Final Summary and CTA. Final summary of the largest generational wealth transfer in modern American history. Boomer total cost $2,000. Gen Z total cost $187,000. Same bachelor degree, 90 times the cost, locked into 30-year repayment cycles. That is the silent generational extraction system disguised as higher education. Calculate your family's intergenerational cost shift. Share with someone in college debt. Next episode, Boomer first job paid one house, Gen Z first job pays rent only. Pay it off generation or forgive it all generation. Comment your faction.
Results in next analysis.
Decision archive closes the case.